2024 has just begun, and already the internet and Black Hollywood are on fire. Kevin Hart is a fake, Stephen Harvey a fraud, Wan Ming Guantou in a giant conspiracy? All of this resulted in a 3-hour video that broke the internet with 50 million views in less than 2 weeks, and it is set to break the record for the most viewed podcast video on all of YouTube. And it is all because of one tiny, very hilarious man who you've probably never heard of. Unless you've seen this meme. I'm a pimp named Slickback. Yes, sir. That is the voice of KATT Williams.
No, nigga, I'm a pimp named Slickback.
A comedian who literally came from nothing. From being a homeless Guozong's son to being partially raised by prostitutes on the street. My man went from being a no-name comedian to winning an Emmy with only being on screen for 6 minutes, yo.
That's the alligator man.
I'm sure it ain't lying to you. I'm the alligator man. Just leave me alone. Won't be no gator.
This guy has performed in nearly 500 comedy concerts, held 12 comedy specials, been in over 60 movies, and 8 comedy world tours. And he did all of this all on his own. Now, as we know, if you want to be a big artist or actor, you need a huge studio behind you, or at least a TV station like Sanli or Zhongtian. And even if you want to be a giant YouTuber and want to win stuff like Zhou Zhongqiang, you need to join an entertainment gang. But KATT Williams built his own gang, yo. There have been countless stories of him just handing out bags of money to lesser-known comedians who he thought didn't get paid enough. This guy insists on only hiring comedians that he thinks are funnier than him, and he pays them a minimum salary of 30万美金 for a comedy tour. And most importantly, where most comedians travel from city to city, repeating the same routine and the same jokes, KATT Williams writes a new routine for every single show in every single city. That means if you see his show in Yonghe and then catch him again in Banqiao, it'll be a completely different show, yo. Which is why in America, he is one of the most beloved comedians in our history. And why, when he went on Shannon Sharp's podcast and had something to say, we all listened. This guy dropped a lot of bombs. But today, we're gonna focus on the 3 biggest ones. Starting with what he said about famous comedian and actor Kevin Hart.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words.
So let's define exactly what an industry plant is. A person in the entertainment industry who not only has the right look and the right characteristics for a movie, TV, or music career, but most importantly, they already come from money and have industry connections. They might be a child or relative of an already famous star, or work for a company or studio that props these stars up. Either way, hard work is rarely a factor in their success. It's all about who they know. Now, we all know people like this that exist, but what's the big deal? Well, when it comes to comedy, especially stand-up, a comedian's very identity comes from their struggle. From putting yourself on the line in front of an audience time and time again, risking 0 laughs, judgment, and maybe even boos. Stand-up comedy is the only art form where the only way you can practice it is to get up and do it in front of people. That means every time you fail, somebody saw that shit. So KATT Williams saying this about Kevin Hart is a big accusation, yo, and could threaten Kevin Hart's very legitimacy as a comedian. KATT Williams doesn't say anything without receipts.
He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was.
So how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I hate to seem like a petty individual for picking apart lies. Like, it's important in the checks and balances of the universe that liars not get to make complete narratives for themselves.
Are you not afraid about being blackballed again?
What do you mean again? They canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to in front of all my people at my agency. You know what the #1 job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
It's to act like it didn't happen.
So now that Katt Williams has laid that out, he's about to expand even further on something that has been a long-running conspiracy throughout Hollywood, the dress theory.
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. When he had to go on his hiatus, he tell me, Katt, when I come back, I need you. You my young partner, you my brother in comedy. When I come back, just promise me that my next movie, it'll be me and you. I said, Martin, you got my mother word. Go do what you gotta do. When you come back, I'm in your movie. Don't trip. I don't need to see the script or nothing. You know, we get in that office and this fool pull out Big Mama's House 2. I almost died. And I gotta read this script from all these good white people where this nigga want me to get in a dress with him. And I'm literally saying to everybody, why is he in a dress again? You already played the old lady as an FBI agent. We can play anything now. We can be playing a dog catcher this time. For a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk. That all I had said was, just, can we take some of this step and fetch it shit out? And then I can do it. Like, it don't need to be overtly homosexual, because I'm not homosexual, right? It doesn't need that to be funny, right? And me saying that and them going, oh yeah, no problem. And then going to give it to this other guy and having him do it just like it was and acting like I'm a bad person because I keep standing on my standard.
So you might be thinking, what's wrong with putting on a dress? Well, in the black community, it goes much deeper than that. Now, I'm gonna assume that you already know the history of slavery in America and skip to the part where the bigger male slaves who were disobedient would not only be whipped, but oftentimes be strung up naked and have their,
the BBC.
forcibly removed in front of a live audience. You know, to set an example that even your strongest can be emasculated. Fast forward to when African Americans started to get more opportunities in film and television, and what you saw was a very consistent theme amongst black comedian actors putting on dresses, and then suddenly their career exploded. Here's a few examples. Eddie Murphy, The Rock, Wesley Snipes, Chris Tucker, Jamie Foxx, and most recently, Kevin Hart. Back in 2013, he appeared on Saturday Night Live wearing a dress and caught a lot of shit for it. But check his IMDb page, and what you'll see is just after 2013, he was in one giant film after the other, seeing his career launched into stardom. And this only fed into the dress conspiracy theory. And take note, this is the guy who said he would never wear a dress.
You know what? I was actually one of those comedians that said, no, I wouldn't wear a dress. There's no way. When proposed with the opportunity of what I felt was funny, I said, oh, that's funny, I'm gonna do it. I think now, knowing about the opportunities that can be thrown at you, it's all about choice. You know, nobody makes you do anything. Right. Nobody says, this is what you gotta do. This is the only way that you're gonna do it. So I think it's all about your pick of what's funny to you. And I will say that's the knowledge that I now have and understand. But from the outside looking in, you always go, oh, I ain't gonna do it. Ain't no way. Why? Why I gotta do it? I ain't gonna compromise myself. For what? I am who I am. But then you're in a movie, and then it calls for a funny scene. Hey, what if you went in this way? And if it's actually funny, it's funny.
Well, Kevin Hart does make a fairly convincing case, but what do you guys think? So you would think that when Katt Williams goes and calls out one of the world's biggest comedians, that he would hit back, right? Defend his name. Well, this is what Kevin Hart had to say.
You don't entertain the circus, you watch it. Right? And when a lion comes out and rides the bike, you don't think about it too hard. You just go, okay, that's crazy. The lion's riding a bike. And then you go home and enjoy the rest of your day.
Damn, well, that was actually fairly diplomatic of him. It seems Kevin Hart tried to take the high road on this one, but his response is only the beginning and a recurring theme that I think you will start to see throughout this video. Regardless of what you think about Kevin Hart, be it an unfunny comedian or an industry plant, the one thing he's not been accused of is stealing jokes, which brings us to our next guy, Steve Harvey. Now, most of you probably know this potato head as the host of many game shows like Family Feud, but in America, this guy is one of the most respected comedians and hosts. From radio to TV to live events, Steve Harvey has had one of the longest running, most respected careers in showbiz, yo. And Katt Williams is about to call BS on all of it.
The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he wear a suit. And then he gets this high top fade, making all black men man think he got the best lineup in the business, and it's a man unit. This is like Steve Harvey telling people he used to be homeless. That's my story. That's not his story. Steve Harvey wasn't never homeless. Mark Curry was touring with him 25 years ago. He was making $3,000 a show in cash and doing 5 shows a week. Thanks to my wife, I'm where I am. You said that about the first wife. You forget that? You told us it was her. Then you went and married somebody else that think like a man. Like, what are you talking about? They think they can rewrite history.
So KATT accused Steve Harvey of stealing people's ideas and even their comedy routines, which caused the internet to do some digging. And this is what they found.
Saying you are not supposed to be at the gas station making life decisions.
Can't even pump gas like you used to no more.
If you put $15 in your tank, you had time to bond with your vehicle. You had time to put the nozzle in and
Put the nozzle in there and hit it.
set the clicker and look through your car and clean off the dashboard. And
Be sitting there talking, be on your phone. Hey, what's happening?
Now, I don't know about you, but these jokes sound very similar, yo. If there's one thing people in comedy hate more than an industry plant, it's a goddamn joke thief. So with such strong accusations like this, you would think Steve Harvey would be out on all of his platforms trying to defend or at least explain himself, right?
No.
In fact, his radio show that airs 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, played nothing but pre-recorded episodes for an entire week after the Katt Williams interview, until finally, Steve Harvey returned to his radio show live and barely even mentioned the event.
Hold it, Tommy. So you a comedian, you a radio host.
Yes.
And now you got a game show? I'm finna go on Shannon Sharp's show and accuse you of stealing my whole damn career.
And he said even less on Twitter. You don't have to address your haters. 100. Are you beginning to see the pattern here? If not, then let's do one more, which will take us straight into conspiracy theory land. When Katt Williams calls out one of the main actors from Guantanamo, the guy who helped put Atlanta hip hop on the map, Ludacris. Hold on to your butts, because this is going to be a wild one.
So there was a crossroads where we were both invited to an Illuminati thing, and it had to be one or the other of us, and decisions had to be made. So it was both of us, we were equal. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person they said was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams. Now, one person ended up with a light-skinned, ugly-faced wife that's never done it. Remember I told you that if I say that, it applied to 7 people?
Yes.
It's part of what they give you. Fast and Furious is on what number right
10.
now?
200 million, I might need to get me one of the more women.
That's what they all end up saying at the end of the day. Kevin told you he wasn't gonna wear no dress until they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you?
So, from the Illuminati to light-skinned wives, our boy KATT has pulled out all the stops and left no stone unturned on this one. Should such a wild claim dignify a response? Well, Ludacris didn't just respond, my man Freestyle responded. Now, because of copyright issues, I had to separate the audio and add my own beat.
Never been Illuminati, only Illuminati, and I only left with bitches when coming from any party. Now I'm married with kids, the evolution of life. Never been a clout chaser, never say shit for likes. R.I.P. John Singleton. You never have to flex when you earn every one of your Fast and Furious checks. Afro with the sideburns. Yeah, that's my signature. Addictions on the rise. Comedians check your temperature.
Whack.
I don't know about you, but I wasn't feeling that at all. And apparently, no one in the comment section was either.
After 20 years, Luda back in the studio. Bruh, all you had to say is if KATT lied or not, somehow you rap it again.
He grabbed his neck like he was checking his temperature. But that's how you check your heart rate.
I'm a big Luda fan, but he didn't deny it, but only brought up Fast and Furious. He definitely didn't defend his wife. He basically didn't deny anything.
Well, if you haven't figured it out yet, from Kevin Hart to Steve Harvey to Ludacris, these guys all have one thing in common.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
None of them said that Katt Williams was lying. But maybe they're scared, because one thing is for sure, the last thing you want to do is try and call out Katt Williams to his face. Last time that happened, my man dissed a comedian so bad it ruined her career, and she even tried to have him killed.
You probably shouldn't talk about sizes.
Oh, that's okay.
You big on the radio.
That's right.
She's almost out of breath. Be careful now. Even on the radio, you can hear the fact that exercise has crept into her vocabulary.
We'll save that for another episode. And with all this, what do you think it means? Many people have gone on interviews and called people out before, but not to the response of 50 million views. Let me know down below. Remember to like, subscribe, and check out our Hoyer section for uncensored videos, and I will see you on the flip side. Peace!